One day after President Trump called on Supreme Court Justices Sonia Sotomayor and Ruth Bader Ginsburg to recuse themselves from any Trump-related cases over alleged bias against him, Republican Senator Ted Cruz also went after Sotomayor after the liberal justice accused her conservative colleagues of being a rubber stamp for the Trump administration. She also accused lower court judges of working against the White House. Watch.
I believe we have a handful of judges who are operating effectively as part of the resistance movement. So I have to say, I read Justice Sotomayor's complaint about, gosh, we're getting all of these emergency appeals at the Supreme Court. I read it a little bit like an arsonist complaining about the noise from the fire trucks.
Again, that's Senator Cruz saying that some of the attorneys or judges are working against the White House. Joining me now is the former acting Attorney General under President Trump, Matt Whitaker. Matt, good to see you.
Hi, Harris.
So is this too much about nothing? I mean, doesn't everybody have an opinion?
No, in fact, having been in the chair as both acting Attorney General and as Chief of Staff at the Department of Justice, I saw firsthand how these nationwide injunctions by district court judges, especially in California, frustrated this president's agenda and really the administration from doing much of anything, especially as it related to the southern border and issues relating to immigration. And so I think Ted Cruz is absolutely right. He's obviously not only a smart lawyer, he's got experience in front of this court. And his point is that there's been 55 nationwide injunctions issued in 3 years of the Trump administration. About half as much were issued during both a combination of Obama and Bush. And so in 16 years, we didn't see this volume of these nationwide injunctions. And the only way, when you're dealing with California district courts and then the Ninth Circuit, to get any kind of relief is to go in this emergency posture to the Supreme Court. And the way the Supreme Court is handling them, and the way the five conservative justices are handling them is to push back on especially the Ninth Circuit, because it is so biased against this administration that we just couldn't get anything done. And I know that the president is very frustrated by that.
You know, I don't want to get too far into the legal weeds of all of this, but we do know that the president has appointed, I checked yesterday, the number is 192 judges. He is doing some major changing at the judicial level. Does that have an impact on what Senator Cruz and others are complaining about on behalf of the president?
I think it is having an impact. Unfortunately, there are some structural problems, especially in the Ninth Circuit, where there is not a balance of the political appointments of the judges. Now, the chief judge came out very loudly and said there aren't Trump judges or Obama judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges. But, you know, in my experience is there are certainly liberal judges and conservative judges, and depending oftentimes who you're in front of, especially in these hot button political issues that unfortunately our elected leaders can't deal with, and in Congress, you end up with judges coming from where their political soul is. And that's what I see as the most frustrating thing, Harrison. I would love to have a detailed legal discussion with you sometime.
All right, I'll buy the espresso. The federal judge in the Roger Stone case is rebuking President Trump over his tweets and comments about the case. This is not the first time we've seen something like this. Judge Jackson says it amounts to intimidation. This came during a hearing to determine if the forewoman of the jury was biased against Stone and if he should get a new trial, rather. Not long after the judge's scolding, the president tweeted about the case 3 times, including this one. There has rarely been a juror so tainted as the forewoman in the Roger Stone case. Look at her background. She never revealed her hatred of Trump and Stone. She was totally biased, as is the judge. Roger wasn't even working on my campaign. Miscarriage of justice, sad to watch. First of all, I just want to get your reaction to the president tweeting about this case. I know that the current AG doesn't like it when he tweets about cases.
Yeah, Bill Barr has been pretty outspoken, and the president acknowledged that when the president weighs in on these pending legal cases, that it sometimes is difficult for the Department of Justice to go into court. However, there's a fundamental issue here, and is, did Roger Stone get a fair and impartial jury to hear his case? And in this particular case of the foreperson, the evidence suggests that she was weighing in before she was ever on this jury about things including Roger Stone's arrest. And so again, it's a high bar to get a new trial and to determine that the jury was biased against you. If I've ever seen seen a case that comes close, it's this one.
You think it should be a new trial for him? I will add this in because I thought this was interesting. Reports from journalists who were allowed to be in the courtroom before the jury walked in, because you got to protect their identity, so reporters had to leave, said that the defense attorneys for Roger Stone admitted in open court that they never even bothered to Google this forewoman on the jury. And one of them apparently mentioned the price tag. It's too expensive to Google everybody. And I think, you know, when you get an attorney to do it, it's about $10. Any quick thought?
The quick thought is when you're preparing for a trial of this magnitude, there's a million things that you need to do in preparation, and you just have to prioritize it. And so I don't second guess people as they're getting ready for trials to whether or not you have very limited time to look at who your jurors are and to do the background on them.
And it would cost us more than $10 to get you to Google.
No doubt about that.
Good to see you. Matt Whitaker, thank you.
Thanks, Harris.